Just tuning in, the Ravens officially have a new head coach. The fourth head coach in the history of the Baltimore Ravens is Jesse Minter, or as someone we told you was going to be the new head coach in around Thanksgiving. But Bone, you have a couple of statements, or at least one?
Yeah, Ravens put out, Jesse Minter put out a statement. Eric DeCosta put out a statement. Let's start with the new head coach. Jesse Minter says, I am truly honored to serve as the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. This is an organization whose values, culture, and tradition of excellence reflect everything I believe about the game of football and how it should be played. My family and I are thrilled to join the Ravens flock, and we can't wait to make the fans, the great city of Baltimore, and Maryland proud. That was Jesse Minter. Here is Eric DeCosta. We are thrilled to announce an agreement with Jesse Minter to be the fourth head coach in Baltimore Ravens history. Jesse is a strong leader who possesses a brilliant football mind and a spirit that will resonate with our players and fan base alike. Jesse comes from a football family with success at every level of the sport, and we are confident that he is the right coach to lead the Ravens forward. Congratulations to Jesse and his wife, Rachel, and the entire Minter family. It's time to get to work.
I mean, look, they better be right. The whole thing was set up for Jesse Minter all along. I would challenge anybody to argue that based on the way it played out, who they talked to, when they talked to him, who actually reached the finalist, who got an audience with the owner. It was always going to be Jesse Minter. If you're going to pick Jesse Minter over even finding out what Sean McDermott might have to offer for you, but you talk to 17 other guys, then for me, it's got to work quickly. Yeah. It's got to work right away. I'm not granting grace.
Well, so go ahead, Bon.
No, I was going to say the reality is, Jason, whether they went with an experienced guy, whether they went with Stefanski, whether they went with Spags, whether they went with Saleh or this guy, it's got to work immediately. Yeah. And this choice
Super Bowl or bust
reflects on Eric DeCosta and Sashi Brown. And even though he is a rookie, and even though, like you were saying, Jason, you bring in the inexperienced guy, maybe he is under Eric's thumb, it could still work. I
would just ask, was this a true search and pursuit to talk to and get an audience with all the best football minds available to get, or was it a way to check the boxes you have to check with the league office and play things out a certain way? Oh, that was always an end game of this is Jesse Minter's job.
There's two parts to this. And number one, Jason, you were on this since Thanksgiving, and you've been calling Jesse Minter since
one guy.
Yeah.
The only one, because he was always getting the job.
Now, there's another part of this for me. And as a fan, and you're numb to fandom, I hope like hell this guy works.
My kids aren't numb to fandom. My talking to my son at 12:30 at night while he's bawling in his bed.
Sure.
I'm not immune to that. Yeah. I hope it works. Yes. I have massive reservations about it working. And if you throw Kingsbury in there too, woo!
And the other part is, and you've said this, he has an opportunity to be a rock star. You just wonder if it's going to be here because of the setup. Like, everybody raves about this guy.
Absolutely. But remember, he is of this place. He is born as an NFL assistant coach of their philosophies, of their analytics department, of everything that they've done. Take coaching out of it. I get he's in the Harbaugh family tree, but he's of their culture, a culture that, if you want to say is warped just because of Harbaugh and Monk and whatever, I mean, and that's sort of what they're selling. I mean, but I think if you dig behind the veneer, I think we'd all say, we can look at draft picks. We can look at free agent signings. We can look at abstaining from making bold moves. We can look at failures at the trade deadline. We can look at stupid stuff like Jair Alexander, who in real time, I'm like, that seems pretty asinine to me that's what we're doing with our last bite at the apple.
But Jason, they're comfortable in the culture. They told you that.
They think it's great.
Steve said you're bringing in this guy, and you hope that Eric can get him up to speed. And look, this guy knows the culture and live the culture.
By the way, we have a statement from Steve Bisciotti. Jesse was impressive throughout our incredibly thorough interview process. He clearly understands the values, high expectations, and history of the Ravens, and he has a great vision for the future. Jesse's football acumen is outstanding, and that's been proven by the impact he's made throughout his entire coaching career. He is also a leader who will authentically connect with our players and inspire them to championship levels. I want to thank Eric DeCosta, Sashi Brown, and our entire selection committee for the work they poured into this process. It was clear to us that Jesse is a special talent who has what it takes to lead us as head coach of the Ravens. I watched Eric work closely with John Harbaugh for years. It was evident how excited he and Sashi are to now partner with Jesse as our organization strives to chase championships. By the way, say what you will, he's not ducking the championship part of this. Steve isn't.
I mean, how could you? You just fired a guy who won more games than you ever thought he would win and won a Super Bowl in this town because he was underachieving.
Yes, he said championship twice in this statement.
Just so we're clear, because I think these things through. We started the show on the day after Harbaugh was let go. Mm-hmm. And I asked you guys, who's in charge and who do we think's in charge? And then they did a press conference and it was obvious who was in charge, right? So Jesse Minter's never done this before. It's not like 6 teams were trying to hire Jesse Minter. Like Jesse, it was here or maybe the Raiders. Okay. This is all on who?
It's all on Sash and Eric. I don't know him well, but that's what Steve calls him.
It's like that here. It's like in Buffalo with Brandon Beane, and even though they weren't going to fire Mike Tomlin, it's like that on Omar Khan in Pittsburgh. They're making the call. They're choosing the players. So if it doesn't work, they have to wear it.
And they went out of their way not to get anybody in front of their owner who would have the kind of resume that would allow them from day one to have pushback, to have, hey, no, this is how a McDermott defense works. And here's what I need from, no. This is the DeCosta and Sashi plan. And anybody who has a brain should be processing it as such. So if in week 4, things aren't being smooth, there's this problem, there's that problem with the coaching staff, there's internal strife, whatever, it's all on Eric and Sashi. And if it works, they get all the credit in the world.
That's what I was going to say.
They will have solved the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
They will have done it their way. And if it works, Minter's along for the ride, at least the first few years. It's all them. But the owner outsourced it to them. They were always going to hire this kid. They hired this kid. This is it. We know where to assign blame and praise and everything in between.